Oh, I'm so sleepy and I can't go to sleep. Usually, if I'm sleepy, I just fall asleep. But I was watching a video, and it was a young black woman in New York City in a drug-induced psychosis state, in the sewer, in the gutter, with all kinds of so much garbage. There is so much garbage strewn about, trash everywhere, trash, and she's literally in the gutter because there's a lot of water, and she's just thrashing about. She's making these kind of sounds, but you can't really understand what she's saying, except at some point you can clearly hear that she's calling for help. She's saying, help me, help me. There's a black male recording the video, and he's laughing. Now, many people were upset with him for laughing. I don't think he wanted to laugh. I hope not. It just seemed like it was a nervous laughter, like he doesn't know what to do. I would not advise him to touch her. She looks like she's not a street person. She's obviously not a street person. She has her hair is done, and her clothes are clean, or you could tell she put on clean clothes today. But she ended up in the gutter, in the water, and the garbage all around her, and it was shit. There's some shit on her arms, and oh man, it's so disturbing to see that. I've seen before black people in the same state, in that state of distress from what appears to be some drug-induced psychosis, or she's they're saying flaca. Is that? I don't know these drugs. I don't know drugs. So flaca. I think in Florida somewhere there were black people in the same kind of condition or similar, and they look like they can hurt themselves. She's someone's family member. It's so sad to see that. And she's saying, help me. And he called an ambulance, and they drove past. I don't know what's going to happen to her. I hope she's going to be okay. They also said that it may be bath salts. They're convinced it's drugs. Somebody said that they may have slipped something in her drink, the New Year's party. But the video said December 24th. So there's that. I couldn't go to sleep after watching this. It was like a horror movie. Horror, especially because it's not acting. I don't believe she was acting. Somebody tried to say that, or some Caucasian. See, they laugh at us like they don't. This could have been from her hanging out with people who gave something to her. They said they are putting things in the bath salts they're putting in weed. They roll you up a spliff or blunt, and there's some of this substance in it, and it can really F you up. She is effed up in the gutter, in the sewer, literally rolling around, and man, it's just my heart. Whew. So many people were saying it's a demonic possession. Meanwhile, I see many black people online, engaging in their demonic rituals and such, and they speak favorably about that interaction. So I don't know. All I know is I don't want drugs. I don't like drugs, and I stay away from those who do. drugs. So, I don't know. I had to get this off my chest. I want to go to sleep. I've been watching videos and falling asleep for the past 2 hours. I keep waiting. So I had some chocolate, and it woke me up. So I said, let me watch more videos. And now that I've seen that one, I just feel really sad. Today's January 6th. It was the day that this clown is he a clown? He was at Nancy Pelosi's desk. He had his foot up. And it was basically black people watching the shenanigans of the Caucasians, the Trump supporters. You know, they didn't storm or take. They were given free rein because they were police officers taking selfies with these. Had they been black, they would be called all sorts of names. They would be called thugs, gangsters, animals, uncivilized, and they would be shot. They would be shot with tear gas, with bullets. But one woman I was shocked to see one white woman was shot in the neck, and she died, right? But I believe that's the collateral damage of which they speak. It's to be expected. I don't know. I saw one black person, but I don't even think it was. Did I see? I think I saw a black woman in the crowd of these patriots. Now, I have friends. Yes, I do. I have friends who are patriots. They would not ever engage in that, or would they? Or would they? I don't know. I don't believe the friends I know who are patriots, they are Trump supporters. They are not racist. Maybe they are. No, are they? I'm gonna have to ask. No, no, they're not racist. This is silly. They're not racist. The ones I know, right? But that was just madness what went down today. And I think Trump, I call him Trump. I think Trump is now banned on Twitter. I won't know because I hate Twitter and I never get on there. So, these are very unpleasant topics today. Very nasty things happening in the world. Alright, so now in Toronto, people are having a hard time with housing. The landlords seem to be off their rocker with greed. The love of money is causing just like rent increase. So a landlord asking a tenant, in fact demanding, give me an extra $500 a month now. Your rent has been low for so long. I'm going to increase it $500. If you don't like it, you can get out. Otherwise you pay. Because they know now it's difficult time, it seems, to rent in the city of Toronto. Well, the people though, I think they're kind of dumb. Toronto is not that great. It really truly is not. I moved out of Toronto. I loved Toronto so much for so long, but I started to see it deteriorate. It's been going downhill for a long time. And the more it goes down, the lower it goes, the higher the rents. The lower it goes, the higher priced everything is in that city. And still these people hold on for dear life. They don't want to leave. They don't. Get the hell out of Toronto. Honestly, it sucks ass. Pardon my French. Yes, I want to feel better. But that's shitty. Toronto is shitty. Now, people are in these, they have these conditions, right? The landlords aren't repairing anything, and people are like freezing in their apartments, or they're dealing with, or somebody complained about these young guys who smoke cannabis in the hallway, in the stairwell, and the stairwell is right outside this woman's apartment, and she's having a hard time with it. And then she mentioned it was Somalian. She said she spelled it Somalian. I don't know, maybe it's some racial thing, because like honestly, when I smell cannabis, I like it. I smile and I inhale. I love the aroma of cannabis. Now, tobacco smoke I can't stand. So some of you don't mind tobacco smoke, but you bitch about cannabis. There ain't nothing wrong with cannabis. Although I will admit there is some hydroponic that actually makes me it makes me feel nauseated. So, there's so many different strains, so many different aromas, but usually most of them I like. And so people are, tenants are complaining, so many tenants complaining about, the landlords and things that need doing but not being done, dealing with mold, dealing with bed bugs, dealing with roaches. So for those of you who are dealing with roaches and bed bugs, because I see too many people complain about, if somebody was at the library and she took books home and she was at home reading and there was a bed bug, it's like, and she doesn't know what to do. And so I want to tell you, because I worked as an exterminator, and I did it independently, and the outfits that have been in the business for however long, because that it's a scam. Extermination is a scam as far as I'm concerned, because when I was at the strip club, they had a bad roach and rodent infestation that was never ending, and that had been for decades. And the same extermination company was servicing that entire building, and these critters never went away. They were never exterminated. They were never eliminated. And I decided, so many people in Toronto are suffering in their apartments and their homes because they have bed bug infestation, and they're spending so much money with these companies that show up and they spray. First of all, you have to leave because it's so toxic. You cannot be there, so you have to be gone for several hours, and the problem persists. You still have bed bugs. You still have roaches. I say, okay. They say boric acid works for ants. For bed bugs and roaches, diatomaceous earth. Yes, diatomaceous earth. Find it, buy it, get it. Have it around as you have toilet paper, as you have laundry detergent, dishwashing liquid. Well, so many of you use styrofoam plates and you don't want to wash dishes, but that's another story. Honestly, have and keep diatomaceous earth, so that if ever you happen to, even one bed bug could mean many more. Just it's good to have a steamer. Have a steamer, steam everything. Your mattress, under your bed, the frame, everything. If it's wooden furniture, make sure you get into the little holes, cracks. The grain marks. It's the naturally occurring little hole here, there in the wood. Get that steamed, and then apply diatomaceous earth. All right? If you have those two things, you will be relatively unscathed. All right? I know, because I helped several families until the expert exterminators were pissed at me for advertising my services. They wanted me out of business, and so they would call me every day and harass me and ask me, so what do you use? What do you use? Well, here's what I used. Diatomaceous earth. Okay? Okay. And then there was something else I wanted to say today. Oh, yes. Orchids. I successfully grow orchids. I love orchids. I tend to them. Orchids don't need that much care. Don't fuss over them. But the woman showed her orchid plant. It was, the roots were just a mess, all dried out. And the pot was, I didn't see any. I just saw roots in the pot, and they were dried with some black marks, as though they'd been getting moldy in some spots. No doubt from her overwatering. See, I don't overwater. I water my orchid plant perhaps once a week. And every now and then I'll give it a good, let's say a soak, but not so much that it's standing in water for too long, because it's kind of like my anthurium plant. They don't like these conditions. They prefer the dry. And if you buy orchids, it comes in this medium with moss on the top. So when my orchids outgrew their pots, I wanted to repot them, but I couldn't find moss anywhere. There's moss in our backyard. There's moss, but I was advised not to use it. I don't know why. And so my plant needed, I said, can I use soil? Regular soil. I have a big bag of soil come here so I can do my gardening. And then we have, I put compost and mix together. And that's what I use to grow my food. And the house plants, I give that to them. And our house plants thrive. So, because I was desperate for a medium, I was told I had to have special moss. But the Chinese people promised to get me moss, and then they went out of business, and I didn't know. That was in the mall, because I hate the mall. I hate malls, and it takes a lot for me to go into any mall. So by the time I finally made it to the mall, the store was out of business. So I ended up repotting my orchid plants in my regular soil and compost. And my orchids are thriving. So much so that they're flowering. I love the orchids because when they're flowering for days, turn into weeks, turn into months. The orchid was flowering before Christmas. At least a month, 2 months, at least a month before Christmas. It bloomed throughout Christmas. Even I said for my mom on her birthday, which is the 26th, I said, wow, the plant, the orchid is giving you a nice show for your birthday. And now that it's January 6th, the orchid just keep pumping out new and new blooms. So that is because earlier in one of my groups, somebody was asking how to revive her orchid, but I looked at the leaves. The leaves look like this plant is in good shape, but the roots kind of drying out. I would just add some good soil with some compost, because that's what I do with my orchid. I don't have to buy a special growing medium, but I know you people here in Canada, in Toronto, you are the sort who are so, you're consumers. You think you have to buy everything. You gotta buy a special medium and someone said he uses clay pellets, and that works. I just use regular soil. I don't buy any special soil. The special is my compost, my organic matter compost, plant-based. All right, and the next thing is Oh, I wanted to say about cannabis again. If you're going to be moving into an apartment, I know it's difficult. The rental market is so bad that it's really difficult for you to be choosy, which is sad. But I would advise you, if you don't like the scent, smell, aroma of cannabis smoke, try not to move into a place where people are smoking cannabis. If you like cannabis, it's best to move into where people smoke, so that all the cannabis smokers can be in the same building and nobody is complaining or disturbing the others. There's always that person who doesn't smoke. Oh, the cigarette tobacco gives me a headache. Oh, I can't stand the smell of it. Listen, I lived with someone for 20 years. When we were out walking in the streets, he always complained whenever he smelled cannabis. Who was always smoking? 98% of the time when you smell weed in the streets, it's Caucasian and usually male. They just walk down the street smoking a joint like it's a cigarette, and they did that before it was made legal here. In fact, one of the DJ at the strip club, was walking in front of me one day. He was walking with one of the strippers, and he's smoking his spliff. I can smell it, and I gave him the look. He later boasted to me. He actually, right there, he said to me, he says, the cops just walked past and they saw me and they said nothing. Well, that is basically indicative of what we have to go through and what we have to witness as you rub it in our faces, that we cannot do shit. We can't do anything. We meaning black people. Because the things you do and get away with, we can't. Not that it's about getting away. I mean, I would never walk down the street smoking a joint. It's just not my style. But it's interesting to see the white people have been doing this, and the police walk past and say nothing to them. But the police were stopping black people, searching them, and in some cases planting, especially the young black males, they would plant these things on them, okay, and then charge them. So it's a lot of inequality and unfairness. There is no justice. But I'm going to leave it in the hands of God. Since you all love the demonic activity, I'm going to go for the godly activity. Now, they say don't use potting soil for orchids. I say that's a myth, because I'm growing my orchids very well in not even potting soil. I'm actually using gardening soil, the stuff for the outside, right? And I amend it with good compost, and it works just fine. You should see my orchids. It went through a stage where it wasn't producing, and then suddenly the little buds started coming, and then the flowers. Oh, so beautiful. So I live with a Caucasian person, and we would be walking outside, and in around Toronto there's a lot of cannabis smoking going on in public by white people, even before it was legal. And he would smell it and he would get very angry. I hate that smell, I can't stand that, that's the worst. And he would always, and I would say nothing, because I smoke cannabis. And so then he would do it, complain about it. And after I had heard this for several years, one day I said, listen, I smoke it. And not only am I smoking, I'm smoking in the house. How come you never say anything to me? Smoking it in the house. You're on the street, walking on the street. What's your problem? This is not your house. If you have a problem with cannabis smell? Are you trying to tell me that you don't like the smell of my smoke when I smoke? Because I'm not gonna stop because you don't like it. Get over it. What the hell? You better listen. Smoking calms me, relaxes me. Okay? You're lucky that I smoke. There are people drinking alcohol. The spirit in the bottle. It's not a good thing. So let me smoke my pipe in peace. And after I told him that, he never complained again about the smell of cannabis. It's funny, like I said, he never complained about it in the house where I smoked it. Mind you, I smoked it only in my room. I don't like to smoke around people. Now, if from my room, if the vents, gets to you, that's your business. Open your window. I don't give a shit. But I'm going to smoke indoors because as a black person, I don't smoke outside because they're always looking for something to complain about. This is our home, you see? And I'm going to smoke in here. And no one can tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing. But so, a Caucasian person was complaining about cannabis smoke in her building. And they were, she said it's the Somalians, she called them. They're Somalis, yeah? And she said that one time she tried to say something, a couple times she tried to say something, and they pretend that they can't speak English because they don't want to talk to her. And they even said to her, "Oh, shut that F off. You smoke crack." They accused her of they called her a crackhead. She didn't like that. So now she doesn't like Somalis. Anyway, Toronto, multicultural city. We have diversity. The Caucasians are dying of overdoses of fentanyl, and they have a lot of opioid deaths, overdose. People need to have, I forget what it is they have for them, to save them from themselves. There's so much to save the white drug addicts, but the black people, no. And I actually believe that these drugs are placed in areas where it's largely populated by black people. And the reason I say that is, when I saw the videos, because it's about the 4th or the 5th I'm seeing over the years, it's always black people. And this drug is making them do things that they can harm themselves. You see? I don't see white people doing those drugs. Mind you, the white people still do pretty crazy drugs themselves. You see, the problem is the drugs, and I guess y'all are not taking seriously that the so-called powers that be don't want us alive. They want to destroy us, and they have various ways. You know, they get off on that, that destruction, because they are devilish. It's kind of a satanic thing to unleash that onto the people. Alright? That's why I like my cannabis. I grow my own, and it's so weak compared to what you do. I don't want to touch what you touch. I just like to be mellow, calm, peaceful. Alright? Irie man. Irie. Yes, I am Domina de la Pie. Mistress Sasha Storm. Hello, yesterday I recorded on drugs, cities, orchids, bedbugs, and patriots. It was January 6th. Alright, so I didn't complete the recording because I was tired, and I am much better earlier in the day. This was late at night. So what I neglected to mention in handling diatomaceous earth, and diatomaceous is spelled ACEOUS. DIATOMACEOUS. Diatomaceous earth. Now, diatomaceous earth is a naturally occurring, soft, siliceous, sedimentary rock that's crumbled into a fine white to off-white powder, depending on the granularity. This powder can have an abrasive feel similar to pumice powder and has a low density as a result of its high porosity. The typical chemical composition of oven-dried diatomaceous earth is 80 to 90% silica with a 2 to 4% alumina, attributed mostly to clay materials, and 0.5 to 2% iron oxide. Diatomaceous earth consists of fossilized remains of diatoms, a type of hard-shelled protist. Please research and read beyond my recording. My purpose is to assist by pointing you in the right direction, away from the noxious fumes of gases and sprays into your living environment as a treatment that is messy, toxic, expensive, time-consuming, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't work because people are complaining and have been for many, many years. Over a decade, I'm hearing people complain, especially in the Parkdale area of Toronto, where they have heavy infestations of bedbugs and roaches, and the landlords have to get these companies that, to me, are a scam. Okay, we want to talk about scam and scammers and scamming. Forget about dealing with all of that. Don't call your landlord when you have this problem. Don't, because they're going to call these guys who come and spray. When you have to spray your place, you have to leave for several hours. They're fumigating. They are spraying, and they are throwing these bombs that, it's just a mess. It's messy. They tell you to throw away all your clothes and you wash your clothes in hot water. Well, that's true. You put your clothes on the dryer setting. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Apply this. I apply it. First of all, I apply steam. I steam everything. Steam the floor. If you have hardwood floors, if you have little cracks everywhere, under your living room furniture, your sofa, your couch, your chairs. Get the bed, under the bed, around the bed. If you have a rug, steam the rug, the carpet, and apply the diatomaceous earth. Because you have pets. Don't do it where your pets can be sniffing and getting it. It's not good to inhale this. And only because, well, anyway, read about it, because I don't want to spend all this time telling you everything. It's best that you go and learn on your own. But I like to do just all around the bed and under the mattress and under the bed frame, everywhere. If you have bookcase, pull everything out, apply it behind the bookcase, behind the furniture, behind the couch, behind where your pets are not really getting to, especially your children, your little babies crawling around. Don't put it in a place where they can get to it and touch it, and no, you out of sight. Yeah. And I applied it and just left it. And several months later, I vacuum everything up. And I like the rigid vacuum best of all. Big and bulky, but I like how it works. And then, because it's industrial. It's what I like to use what I see men using in their workshops. And that's how I know. Don't do any lady stuff. This is ridiculous. Lady vacuum. No, get the men job, because they make things better for men. Never mind that the vacuum is pink. Mine is gray and orange, I think. And so, you vacuum that up, and you reapply it. And you don't have to use too much. Just because these bed bugs, they are there and they show up at night. and they do their thing. They suck you and make love to you in your sleep. If you are awake, you may see them. But they are nasty little critters, and no one should have to live with them. And unfortunately, too many people live with those things. And all you have to do is get this diatomaceous earth, and just go online. Go online. Everybody's online. That's where they push this all to be online. Go and read about it, and find your source where it's sold. I say best to go in your neighborhood. You know, they say you're on lockdown, but this is ridiculous. How much and how long can we be on lockdown? Lucky for me, I have people who shop and deliver, so I don't have to go and deal with people fighting in stores about social distancing and all of that. But it would be awful for you to have bed bug infestation or even cockroaches in the middle of winter, and you're stuck inside. And, you know, if you have this issue and you call the landlord and he sends fumigators, pest control, and they are spraying that stuff. No. Let's get your diatomaceous earth. Don't tell the landlord anything. Apply your material and live your life. Drugs, cities, orchids, bedbugs, and patriots. That is the accompanying recording that I did last night, and then I realized I had not told you to wear masks. You know, it is important for you. I treated several homes and was paid and I didn't wear mask, but I also didn't go around sniffing it, right? I was just in and out trying to apply it and get the hell out of there. I'm not trying to hang out in the environment, but it's your home and you're there. Wear a mask. It's just best. And good luck. And this does work. This does work. Be vigilant. Don't just apply it and then vacuum it up. Let it stay there for weeks, even a couple of months. Let it stay behind the bookcase, behind this, behind that, in the bottom of the closet. And you don't have to throw all your clothes away. Just, I would apply that for the whole year, like every several months. You can vacuum it up. I don't always vacuum it up. Sometimes I just leave it. But the vacuum is, I like to vacuum to get the dust, because there's also dust occurring, especially in the city. So vacuum it up and then reapply, and you should be free of those things without having the noxious, smelly fumes of these large companies that really don't effectively remove those critters from your home, because it's a horrible thing to live with. And this is, many people, they are already made poor by the high cost of living in the city. From the rent, people can barely afford to buy groceries. People cannot eat properly. And then on top of that, to be besieged by attacks of bed bugs. So that's one way to protect yourself. Spend the money on this. This is where you can, it'll give you peace of mind. Okay, especially you have children. 4 children being eaten by bed bugs. This is not good. This is not good. So what else? This morning I drank, it's something I drink once. It depends on how I feel. If I've consumed too much sugar, too much, stuff that is not really healthy, I usually take care of myself, but sometimes I get weak and I will have chocolate like I did last night. So, is the sugar. The sugar is very bad for me. So what I do is, when I wake up, first thing I have in my stomach is something I make. I put it in NutriBullet or Vitamix. If you don't have that, any blender, and blend. I put okra, and I keep my okra in the freezer. I wash and cut, keep it in the freezer. So I grab like about 3 okra, and I cut from my aloe plant. I cut a piece of aloe from the plant. I put a key lime in half. I also wash and place my key limes in the freezer. That way I don't waste anything. They don't go bad because they are frozen. And I just put a little bit of my hot tonic in there with approximately 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, ground cinnamon. I blend that. There's a little water. If you don't put water, it will be very like a gel, and I prefer it to be a bit more liquefied, so it's easier for me to drink without gagging. And yeah, and I have that on my stomach, empty stomach, followed by my herbal tonic, which I will talk about later if you are interested in learning about this method of health and wellness maintenance. So yes, I am Domina Della Pie, Mistress Sasha Storm, and I am if you will observe my channel compared to others, you will see that my approach and delivery is very different from everyone else. I am not an expert. I am not a professional. I am the natural woman who has learned from her environment, and I come from nature. My island is called the Nature Island of the Caribbean. That's Dominica. We are virtually a rainforest, and so I grew up with a mother who was one of the only people I knew on the island who was into recycling. All those years ago, my mom was recycling. My mother was using net bags to go to the market to buy her produce. We were not using plastic bags, and they were reusable bags. So we were ahead of that. Now everyone is on this bandwagon. I want more of you to jump on, because the idea is to just take back our earth, take back our planet. There is too much pollution, and they're trying to have you wear masks for this so-called virus of theirs, but we don't want to get to the point how China was wearing masks. Let's be real now. China was wearing masks long before COVID, and I mean long before COVID. For years, Chinese were wearing masks because of how they've polluted their environment, and that's how they became one of the richest, strongest nations. Well, what kind of life is that when the Chinese people cannot speak freely? The Chinese people are muzzled. The Chinese people are punished for speaking truthfully. We don't want that here, but that looks like that's what they're trying to bring to us. So be mindful when they speak in tongues. If they say up, go down. Seriously, they are never truthful. But you are listening to the mainstream media, and that's where you are misinformed and lied to. So I go away from these screens and look elsewhere for my information, and I can see clearly this world has been destroyed, is being destroyed. They want us left with nothing, but we were left with an abundant garden. And let's try, please, to maintain those conditions on earth. To be burning down rainforest, that's by their design. This was no accident. Some careless smoker threw there. But no, if a careless smoker did that, because they were paid to do that. Okay, so we have fires here in Canada, in BC, our forests. We have in California, in Brazil, in Australia. These are all places where indigenous people were found. You found us on these lands. Now you're trying to destroy the land so that we perish. Okay? And that's so wrong. That's so wrong. And it's because of the demon within those minds, those poison minds of a satanic sort of heart. That is a hardness, a coldness, a wickedness. We go away from that. Have God in your heart. Have God in your heart. The devil did not create our planet Earth. The devil, Lucifer and all these other entities they worship, they did not give us this beautiful land. Let's be thankful. We were brought here. We found ourselves here. We were born here into this beautiful planet. Beautiful planet. Look at my island, the Nature Island of the Caribbean, and look at all the beautiful places on earth. And why would you want to have to end up in these cities where you are living on top of each other and fighting, and people are smoking and disturbing neighbors. People are doing drugs and making noise, coming and going at all odd hours and disturbing their neighbors. People are not sleeping in these cities because their neighbors are willfully creating disturbances, noise disturbances. That is very upsetting, and there's no recourse. You cannot go to the landlord. The landlord doesn't care. Or if you don't like it, move out. Because when you move out, they're going to increase the rent for the next person. And for those of you who keep advocating for renting, this is very bad advice you're giving to these people. Because when you are renting, you are beholden. You have neighbors who don't care. They make noise, they cook smelly things. It's best to be in your own space and have neighbors that you can appreciate, as opposed to being in an apartment building where you have neighbors that you hate and they hate you and they're doing things to disrupt your life, take away from your enjoyment of life in your dwelling. This is happening too much in these cities. That's why there's so much violence, because people are not in tune to nature. They cannot even go outside with their bare feet and get grounded. They are indoors, stuck indoors, and now they're telling you on lockdown. You're on lockdown. Stay inside. Wear your mask. Social distancing. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? That's coming straight from China. That was this Chinese woman on our TV. She is with the WHO, CDC. All of those, any of the acronyms, they are all poison and poisonous. But you worship them. You believe them. You believe in them. Hey, who am I? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. But listen, I listen to scientists and doctors. What I've found is there are doctors who are thrust upon us, and they are the ones being paid to deliver bullshit to us. There are doctors who are saying other than the mainstream, and they are muzzled. Okay? They are cast aside. They are blocked. They are banned. They are muzzled. They are prevented from speaking truthfully. They're experts. They're knowledgeable. And they're being silenced. Wake up, my darlings. Wake up, people. Wake up. These rich people are not your friends. They use you against each other. And they've been doing this for so long. Look at Africa. Robbing them of their natural resources. Robbing them of their raw materials. And giving them nothing in return. Nothing but a bad name. Listen. Smarten up. Stop worshipping these demons. Stop thinking you stupid black males. Sorry, pardon me, but that's what you look like. You are self-destructive when you keep chasing every woman but a black woman. All of you, you think, oh, look, this is my wife. And then next thing you know, down the road, oh, she wants half of everything I have. She came to me with nothing. And they say, well, she helped build you. No, she did not. You are the one doing the sports. You guys are so into sports. You better watch that sports, because who is benefiting? Who's profiting? Who's making all the money? And when you're finished with your sporting career, you are fodder for the doctors. You have to take all kinds of medication and this and that and these treatments because you've bashed your head, bashed your bodies. And what do you do now? This money is not so good after all, right? Don't be in their pursuit of money. They have money for a reason. It's to control you. Don't try to be like them. No. Go back to nature. Go back to the earth. Let's clean it up. And this buying, you're on a buying frenzy. Only buy what you need. If you don't need it, don't buy it. Because all your garbage you ship to Africa. We've had it. Africans are sick of you and all of your toxicity. I am Domina Della Pie, Mistress Sasha Storm.